Hello, I'm Kathryn White. I'm a freelance medical writer and I've been freelancing now for 7 years. And in that time, because I was interested in business management as well as the medical writing, I booked myself onto some business coaching during that time. And as a consequence, what I'd like to do is to share with you some of the advice that I've learned over that time and working with these coaches to help us as freelancers work more efficiently within our business. So as a freelancer, we wear many hats. We're not just writers or scientists. If we are freelancers, we're now business owners. So we have to market our business, we become marketeers, we have to make sure that the finances work, that we have cash flow. We have to be entrepreneurs. We're looking to develop our business and to keep longevity, really, keep our clients coming through the door and keep income coming through the door. So we have a lot of roles to fulfill. And this is just in our business world, not forgetting our life outside the business too. On top of all that, we have challenges. These are the challenges that most of us as freelancers will be familiar with. So meeting client demands and the ever-shifting timelines, particularly when we have several clients and we're working across projects. So we need to be able to manage our workflow. Also, keeping time for marketing our business and making sure that we have other jobs lined up when projects come to a close. And not forgetting our own personal development, something that was probably looked after by our employers when we were employed, but now that we are our own boss, we have to make sure that we remain on top of our game and that we're up to speed with the world that we're now working in. And probably most importantly, we need to keep time aside for relaxation. And this is the one that's often drops off our list because we get so busy meeting client demands and doing our project work. And yet relaxation, we actually owe it to our clients to keep time aside for rest, because without that rest we don't work at our best for our clients, and we're in the industry to provide a good quality service to our clients. And often when we're walking the dog or doing something completely non-business related is when we get our best ideas or our eureka moments. And who knows, one of those eureka moments could be a solution or a good idea for your clients. So we must make time for relaxation for that reason. And as a freelancer or a solo business owner, we are our business card. The buck stops with us effectively. So our smile is our logo and our personality is our business card. And how we leave others feeling after an experience with us becomes our trademark, which I think is really good advice to remember. But we want to avoid burnout. We want to ensure that we keep that balance between the business side of things and the client and project work, as well as the business management and as well as life outside of our company too. So how can we streamline our business to prevent us burning out and to ensure that we don't become a bottleneck in our own business? First of all, we need to learn how to set boundaries, and this is something we probably all struggle with when we set out in business. We need to first of all respect our own timelines and before we can expect others, including clients, to respect them too. And it's a case of learning self-leadership here, which is completely different. It's a shift in mindset to when we're employed. This is again down to us. We have to lead ourselves, we have to lead our business. And an example of this in terms of setting boundaries is when we set emails, send emails to clients. So for example, we often get emails out of hours, particularly if we're working across the world. And one thing I'd say is just remember before you ping that email response off, if you keep sending replies outside of your own business hours or what you've agreed as your business hours with your client, you're effectively teaching your clients that you're available 24/7. So by all means draft that email on a Sunday evening if that's what works best for you, but perhaps wait until Monday morning within your working hours before you actually send it. And that way you are teaching your clients as when you are available and when you are not. And learn to say no without saying no. So, for example, if a client comes along and wants you to write a document and the timelines that they're stating aren't really achievable given what else you have going on within your business and your life, and you don't actually think they're realistic to produce a quality document, then rather than saying that you can't make that deadline, how about saying what deadline you can do? So you twist it around so it's always the positive. Payment and understanding your value is another crunch point, I think, as freelancers, and it's something that we often feel quite uncomfortable about, the money side of the business. But we are in business to create an income. That's how our business survives. So don't underestimate the value that you are giving to your clients. I think clients often forget the value that we're adding to their projects. And an example of that is a client I had who thought that my hourly rate, because I went in with an hourly rate, was quite high, and it was higher than they would feel comfortable paying. And so in this instance, because I really wanted to work with the client, I went in and said, well, my preference is to actually give you a fixed rate for this project, which I did. And interestingly, the fixed rate was based on the hourly rate that I'd already given them and that they'd refused to accept. And they actually accepted the fixed rate. Because they could see the end point, I think, and it worked really well, and I've had repeat business from them. But be pragmatic where value is concerned. So another example of mine is that I've worked with a client who gave me the experience of working with documents I wasn't necessarily experienced in writing, and I was very upfront about that. And so my hourly rate, I worked on an hourly rate because I was still finding my feet in terms of how long these documents would take. And I set the hourly rate at probably my lower level on the basis that this was training for me, and it was a fantastic experience for me, and it gave me the opportunity to then work with other clients within that arena for a more comfortable rate for my business. And whenever you have any interactions with your clients, whether that's on the phone or by face-to-face, always just spend a few moments before that interaction to set your intention for that meeting. Who do you want to be in that meeting, and how do you want to feel, and what's your desired outcome? Just take a few moments just to breathe and ground yourself, and try and always aim for a win-win situation on both sides. And how can we manage our time better to make us more streamlined within our business? We all know the usual time wasters, the email and phone, and the social media, even housework. The ironing becomes more attractive, for example, if you have a particularly difficult project to work on. Basically anything else but work becomes more attractive. So how can we ensure that these time wasters don't limit what we can get done? So firstly, limit your daily priorities. Set 3 priorities, if you can, as to what you really need to get done that day. Set your intention, as we've discussed in the previous slide, and turn off your notification for emails so you're not tempted. I know I'm too nosy if I've got notifications on to not have a look and see who's just messaged me. And also email at set times, as we've discussed. So make sure that you only send and respond to emails during the hours that you've agreed with your client. And I allow all my phone calls, unless I'm expecting a phone call, to go to voicemail, and I make that known to clients when I work with them. That's on the basis that if I'm in the middle of writing a document and the phone goes, I owe it to the client that I'm writing the document for to keep my focus on that work. And likewise, the person on the other end of the phone, I owe it to them if I'm talking to them on the phone that I've 100% focused on the conversation. And so I allow all my calls to go to voicemail, and then I agree a mutually convenient time for us to speak. And so far that's worked well. Try and declutter your desk so that you only have the tasks that you're focusing on there. And also time tasks. Sometimes if you're really finding it difficult to concentrate, set a timer, even if it's just 20 minutes before you go for a walk or have a cup of tea. It's amazing how much more focused you are when you have a time limit set. And let me introduce you to working in and on your business. So this will help us to, again, allocate sufficient time to each task. Think about the tasks that I would term as being in your business. So the day-to-day project work and the client requests and the writing, the things that probably take up most of our time. But don't forget about those tasks that I would term as being on your business. So these are all the business management tasks, like the marketing and the accounting. All those tasks that perhaps get pushed to the side if we're not aware that we need to do them or keep time aside for them. And one very good way of making sure that we allocate sufficient time is to, every Friday or a Sunday evening, whatever works best for you, set some time aside. It only takes about 5 minutes to actually provide a detailed agenda of what you're going to do for the following week. And that can always shift, but it gives you a really good visual aid for where you've got time available or where you need to add time in for projects. And this is particularly helpful if a client rings you with a last-minute request. And I mean really detailed. So even when you are having breakfast or having lunch or going to walk the dog, include non-business tasks too. And it's amazing how you see what time opens up to you. And don't reinvent the wheel. So where you can, where you send out standard emails for invoices, for example, or the invoices themselves, actually create templates and add your logo and website address, because it's cheap and simple advertising too each time you send those out to clients. And I always have a cover sheet. Particularly as a writer, we can often get involved in projects where documents go out for review and they disappear for weeks on end because the clients are busy. If you have a cover sheet that just details where you're at each time that you do a particular task or where you are within a project, it means that when you get that document back, for example, off review, you immediately have a reminder of where you were and any points that you need to discuss. And this is something that I've learned the hard way, really, is to delegate tasks. Hard way in the sense of make sure you've got some backup set up. For example, if sickness or if you're out of the office, and I'll go into more detail in that next slide, but also look at where you can delegate other business-related tasks like accountancy, your website design, or even using a virtual assistant. They're becoming more popular now. Just tasks that you could outsource to other people, which allows you to then do your high-value work, your medical writing. And include non-business related tasks too. Look at how long you spend maybe cleaning the house or doing the gardening, or any task that is not business related that you could perhaps outsource. And again, look at what you're paying somebody else to do that compared to what you could be earning if you were using that time to do your business, or indeed something that you love, a hobby. And also think of it as, the way I look at it as well, is that you're investing in somebody else's business by doing that, which appeals to me. And subcontracting as well allows you to give out work so that if you are really busy, for example, and clients come to you and you can't actually do the work yourself, if you have a subcontract process in place, you can subcontract the work to somebody that you know and trust, and that way you get to keep the client who you may be able to work for yourself in the future. It means you have backup if you are suddenly ill or have an accident or you're not able to work. On which many clients are often a little bit worried about with freelancers, that we don't have that backup available. And you can also set up the contracts, so service agreements or task orders, based on what I did was I looked at contracts that I already had in place with clients that they'd written, and I basically drafted something for my own business and then got someone who was legally qualified to have a look through. So have a process set up. It's really good to have that backup in place. So don't forget your time for relaxation, because that's probably when we have our best ideas and our eureka moments, and it also allows us to avoid burnout, bearing in mind that many small businesses fold probably within the first 5 years due to burnout. And remember, you are a business owner. We're not just freelancers, we are solo business owners. So we need to respect our own business and our time before we can expect anybody else to do so. Remember to set clear boundaries and put systems and processes in place so that you're prepared for any unforeseeable events that may happen, and you can streamline your business and make yourself work more efficiently in your business. Thank you.